The names, places, and personal details in this story have been altered for privacy. But please watch until the very end. It might protect you from becoming the next victim. I never thought something like this could happen to me. I didn't see myself as naive, I'd been through too much for that. I raised 2 children. I lost my husband to cancer. I handled bills, health scares, and every hard decision on my own. I was strong. But I was also lonely. And I had no idea how dangerous that could be. It had been 6 years since my husband passed away. Our marriage wasn't flawless, but it was grounded in respect and consistency. After he died, the silence in our home grew unbearable. My children moved out. I retired from my job as a bookkeeper. Life shrunk to a few quiet corners: my living room, my flower beds, and my cat, Pumpkin. I didn't plan on dating again. That chapter, I thought, was closed for good. Love was something I'd already lived through. But one quiet evening, something unexpected happened. I saw an ad pop up. Find mature singles near you. Out of boredom more than anything, I clicked. I scrolled through profiles, some funny, some odd. Then one profile caught my eye. His name was Stephen Coleman, widower, originally from Ohio. His photo showed a man with soft eyes, silver hair, and a modest smile. He looked sincere, not flashy, not overly polished. He said he was a civil engineer working overseas on infrastructure projects in West Africa. Sounded unusual, but not unbelievable. My late husband had known engineers who took contracts like that. His first message read, "Hi Karen. I know this might seem strange, but you look like a lovely woman. I'd be honored to get to know you if you're open to chatting." That was the beginning. First, our conversations were light, just friendly messages on the dating site. But soon we switched to email and then to WhatsApp. Stephen explained that messaging apps worked better from Ghana, where he said he was overseeing a hospital construction project in Accra. He told me his wife had passed away in a car crash 4 years ago. He said he never thought he'd be able to open his heart again until he started talking to me. "You remind me of her," he wrote. "Not in appearance, but in the warmth you carry." I didn't know how to respond. But deep down, something flickered. I felt noticed. I felt alive. We messaged constantly, every day. Sometimes more than once a day. We talked about everything. Books we loved. Childhood stories. What the weather was like where we were. He asked about my garden, about Pumpkin. He listened when I shared my fears, my hopes, and the things I regretted. He wasn't pushy. He was gentle, calm, considerate, and it all felt real. He even sent photos, pictures of him on a dusty construction site wearing a hard hat and a vest. One image showed him standing beside a local worker, both of them smiling. Another was him eating something he called jollof rice under a cloudy sky. The photos weren't perfect, a little blurry, but they seemed casual enough to be believable. After a while, I started to wonder, maybe this was something. Not a whirlwind romance, not some fairy tale, but maybe a companion. A friend for the years ahead. He told me his project was wrapping up soon, that he'd be returning to the States in a few weeks. He even joked about meeting Pumpkin and surviving her judgment. He talked about visiting Missouri, about walking through the garden together, about meeting in person at last. And by the end of our 4th week of talking, I truly believed I knew him. I didn't see what was coming. It was a quiet Sunday when the first red flag appeared, though I didn't see it that way at the time. Stephen messaged me out of the blue. "Not the greatest day, sweetheart. Caught up in some frustrating local bureaucracy. I'll call later. I miss you." That night, his voice sounded different. Not the warm, steady man I had gotten used to. He seemed tense. He explained that a shipment of steel parts had arrived at the port, essential materials for the hospital project, but customs officials were refusing to release them unless he paid a processing fee. It's frustrating, he said. There's still a lot of corruption here. And to make matters worse, our company's international wire system is down. Could take a week or more to fix. Then came the hesitation. A pause long enough to feel loaded. And finally, the ask. I promised myself I'd never involve you in work problems, Karen, but I'm in a tight spot. If I could borrow just $1,200 to pay the customs fee, I could move the project forward and be home in a matter of weeks. I'll pay you back the moment I land. I didn't respond right away. My gut twisted. I wasn't sure. Steven noticed my silence. And then the guilt-laced reassurance started to drip in. I would never want to make you uncomfortable. I respect you too much. If the answer is no, I'll understand, truly. But I feel so helpless right now. And the thought of this tiny setback undoing everything we've built. He trailed off. Then suddenly the call ended. My phone's dying. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, my thoughts racing. Part of me screamed, "This isn't right. Don't do it." But another part, the one that had been starved for connection, whispered, "It's just once. What's $1,200 if it helps someone you care about?" By morning, I had made up my mind. I wired him the money. A few days passed, and I asked Steven if the situation had been resolved. He said yes, the shipment was finally released. But almost immediately there was a new problem. The concrete we received is contaminated, he said. It's unusable. I've been scrambling to find another supplier. I'm stretched thin here. This time, he didn't ask for more money. Not yet. Instead, he doubled down on the affection. He called more often, sent little voice notes. He told me I was his angel. You become my safe place, Karen. He spoke about the future, how excited he was to meet my daughter Rachel. He imagined us going to church together once he got back. You've brought light into my life again, he said softly one evening. And I believed him. Then, 2 days later, another message came, this one alarming. Baby, I was in a car accident. I'm okay, just some bruises. But my driver's in the hospital. The police are demanding payment for medical fees before they'll release my passport. My heart dropped. He sounded panicked. He sent a photo, blurry and dark, of what looked like a hospital corridor. There was a blanket folded on a bench and what seemed like his hand wrapped in gauze. He said he needed $2,500 to cover the situation and get his passport back. Once that's done, I'll be out of here. I'll come home. I'll make this right, I swear. Cried while transferring the money. That point, I had sent nearly $4,000 altogether. It didn't feel like I was being scammed. Felt like I was helping someone I deeply cared about, someone who needed me. And I kept telling myself, this is temporary. He'll be home soon. This will all make sense. That weekend, my daughter Rachel came by for a visit. She noticed something was off right away. I was glued to my phone, constantly checking for messages. My nerves were shot. I kept biting my lip and pacing the kitchen. Mom, are you all right? You've been so jumpy, she said. I brushed her off with a smile and a half-hearted, just tired. But she didn't buy it. She kept gently pressing until I finally gave in and told her about Steven. Well, most of it. I shared how we met online, how sweet he was, how we talked every day. But I left out the money. I couldn't bring myself to say it. Rachel raised an eyebrow and asked, "Have you sent him anything?" I shook my head. "No. Course not," I lied. She didn't push further, but she warned me. "Mom, this sounds like one of those romance scams. Thousands of women get caught up in them every year. The moment they mention being stuck overseas, it's a huge red flag." I immediately got defensive. "Steven is different. You don't know him like I do. She didn't argue. She just hugged me and said, "I only want you to be safe." That night, I told Stephen what Rachel had said. He didn't get angry. Instead, he responded with calm understanding. "I get it," he said. "If my mom were still around, I'd want her protected too. But Karen, I've never lied to you. What we have, it's real." And just like that, I believed him again. Just a few days later, Stephen reached out again, this time with what he said was the final hurdle. "I've wrapped up everything here. The hospital project is complete," he told me. "But there's one last thing. The Ghanaian government requires an exit tax for foreign contractors who've earned income here. It's $2,800. Without it, I can't leave the country." I froze. My chest tightened. This wasn't just another delay, this was a pattern. I told him honestly, "Stephen, I don't have that kind of money right now. I've already sent so much." He didn't argue. He pleaded, "Send whatever you can, even just a portion. Every dollar helps. Please, Karen, don't let this be the thing that tears us apart." He said it with such urgency, such emotion, and I caved. I went into my emergency fund, money I had set aside for medical bills, home repairs, real-life things, and I wired him $1,800. It was every last bit I had saved for a rainy day. Stephen told me he was flying out in 2 days. He even forwarded what looked like a flight confirmation, departure time, airline, everything. I tried checking the booking number online, but it didn't show up. When I asked, he told me, "It's a group corporate ticket. Sometimes those don't register on public systems. But don't worry, I'll be there soon." I wanted to believe him. I needed to believe him. I set an alarm the morning of his flight. I even put on lipstick. I felt like a teenager again, waiting for that one text, that one call. "I'm on my way." But it never came. That morning turned into afternoon. By noon, there was still no message. No call. Not even a simple "good morning, sweetheart." My stomach twisted, but I tried to stay calm. Maybe his phone had died. Maybe he was already in the air. I sent him a text anyway. "Safe travels, Stephen. I can't wait to see you." No reply. An hour passed. Then another. By evening, my hands were trembling. I called him. It went straight to voicemail. I texted again. "Are you okay? Please let me know you made it to the airport." Still nothing. The next morning, I checked my phone the second I opened my eyes. Still no response. And then I noticed something that sent a cold wave through my chest. His WhatsApp profile photo was gone. His status no longer showed. No online, no last seen. It was like he had been erased. Like he never existed. That horrible feeling in my gut, the one I had been pushing away for weeks, now grew into something undeniable. A full-body ache. Somewhere deep inside. I had known. I just hadn't wanted to face it. I spent that day in a daze. I didn't eat. I couldn't sleep. My whole body ached like I'd been in a car wreck. I sat on the couch, sometimes crying, sometimes just staring into nothing. I felt violated. Betrayed. But most of all, I felt ashamed. How could I have fallen for this? When I finally found the strength to do something, I drove to the local police station. I sat down with an officer and told him everything. Every message, every photo, every wire transfer. I even showed him the flight confirmation Stephen had sent me. The officer listened patiently, his eyes tired, like he'd heard this exact story before, maybe dozens of times. When I finished, he sighed and said, "I'm really sorry, ma'am. These scammers operate from overseas using fake identities, stolen photos, and masked numbers. They vanish the moment the money dries up. There's not much we can do." I asked if I could at least file a report. He nodded, took my statement, and entered it into the system. Before I left, he gently added, "You're not the only one. These scammers target good, kind people. Please don't blame yourself." But I did. I blamed myself for every dollar sent, every excuse I believed, every sign I ignored. That night, I told Rachel everything. The whole truth. I told her about the wires, the fake emergencies, the promises, and the $7,000 I had lost. She didn't yell. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just held me and cried with me. Then she helped me take action. We froze my accounts. We filed a complaint with the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. We set up credit alerts. We did everything we could, but it was too late. Not a single dollar was recovered. It's been 8 months since then. And some mornings, I still wake up hoping to see a message from him. I know how that sounds. Irrational. Desperate. But when someone worms their way into your heart, pretends to care, pretends to love you, and then vanishes without a trace, it doesn't just hurt. It hollows you out. I've spent countless nights asking myself how I didn't see it. How someone like me, someone logical, experienced, cautious, could fall for a stranger's lies. But that's the thing. Scammers don't wear masks or speak in cliches anymore. They're smart, patient. They study your words, mirror your emotions, and wrap you in a version of the truth that feels comforting, familiar, safe. Looking back now, I see the signs I chose to overlook. He never had a real phone number. Never gave me a permanent address. His stories were always slightly vague, just enough detail to sound real, but never enough to verify. He called me his love within 2 weeks. Talked about our future before we'd even met. And whenever a problem came up, it was always urgent, always now, always life or death. And I justified all of it. Not because I believed every detail, but because I was afraid. Afraid of being alone again. Afraid of losing the one spark I thought I'd finally found in the darkness. So if you're watching this, if you're talking to someone online who says all the right things but somehow is always just out of reach, please listen to me. They don't always sound foreign. They don't always make mistakes in their grammar. They can be charming, educated, well-spoken. They can say everything you've ever wanted to hear. But when money enters the picture, even just once, that's your sign to run. Don't wait for a second red flag. Don't wait for things to make sense. You don't owe them explanations. You don't owe them patience. You owe yourself protection, peace, and dignity. My name is Karen. I'm a 62-year-old widow. I lost $7,000. But more than that, I lost trust. I lost part of who I was. And I'm still picking up the pieces. But I'm still here. And I'm healing. And if sharing this story stops even one woman from going through the same nightmare, then it was worth every tear I cried while writing it. Please talk to your mothers, your aunts, your neighbors, your friends. Love is beautiful. But blind trust is dangerous. Don't let loneliness make you a target. Stay smart. Stay alert. And never, ever send money to someone you've never met in person. If you made it to the end, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps this channel grow and helps us share more real stories so others can avoid the same mistakes. Stay safe out there. You're worth protecting.